All right, what's up, guys? Vivi back with another video. Today we're going to be going over a deck. It's it's in a format that is not usual to what I would cover for trading card games. I'm not a big fan of multiplayer formats in card games, but this deck was just so interesting. It was running purple yellow Crocodile, so I had to cover it, right? Um, I don't want to say I'm opposed to formats like this, like 3-on-3, but at the same time, okay, how do I say this? I am okay with the team setting. I do love team settings, but at the same time, with card games, I'm a really big fan of the 1 versus 1 setting. It's like with chess, right? Like I kind of feel like it's meant to be 1 versus 1. Now, who knows in the future, or maybe there are card games that are literally designed around multiplayer aspects, multiplayer, intentions. But with One Piece, I don't really get that. I truly don't. But who knows? And I do like the idea of combining multiple different leaders so that you can have this really strong, like, maybe one guy's the defender and one guy's on offense or whatever, whatever the case might be. But I don't know. I got to look more into it and see how it shapes up and see if there's actually going to be, a actual, not a market for that, quote unquote, but enough interest in that, right? Because I don't want to spend too much time looking into something that I'll only be able to play like once a year. Does that make sense? Because I didn't even know this format existed. I just saw this list pop up on One Piece Top Decks.com, which is where I get it's where I get my deck list from, onepiecetopdecks.com. And I saw, man, okay, purple yellow Crocodile, and then it was like 3-on-3, and it looks like it's very interesting. Let me go back real quick. It was all of these three guys: purple yellow Crocodile, yellow Big Mom, and yellow Yamato, I think. Or was this Katakuri with the wrong picture? Let me see something real quick. No, it was Yamato. So that is very interesting. I'm not going to go over every single one of these lists, but hey, with Yamato down, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost that's equal to or less than the total life of you and your opponent. Then if you have one or less life, you may add up to one card from the top of your deck to your life area. Excuse me. So it's kind of, the idea is kind of stabilize around one life and start going off with Yamatos. And I wonder if this has an interaction where it's like, all of your opponents, or does it just zone in on one opponent? Because otherwise this thing, Yamato, can just KO anything, right? Let's see, and your opponent, then if you have one or less life, yeah, so maybe it probably doesn't go off all your opponents, but who knows, there might be some stipulation in the rules, because I do not know the rules of 3 versus 3. So if anyone does know, please, message in the, leave a message in the comment section below. But having all of this yellow in the same area, excuse me, it does seem very, very good, right? So basically, instead of just having 4 Capone Gang Beige, this is an OP04 character. I should have mentioned that as well at first. This is an OP04 list. This is an OP04 list, and all of these are OP04 lists, plural. And Capone Gang Beige is a new 2K counter coming out that has a trigger on him. He has up to one of your opponent's leaders or character cards cannot attack during this turn. So now you have like 12 of those abilities floating amongst all your life. And I'm surprised they didn't want to go like a black-yellow list in here. But hey, it won out of a, like, it looks like up to about 126 people. It looks like they won. But anyway, we are going to go over the purple-yellow list because maybe this will give us some ideas, right? Maybe this will give us some ideas on how to make purple-yellow into something decent even in standard, right? 1 versus 1 standard format. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. So this is the leader. He is a 4-life, 5,000 power leader because he's dual color, right? That's very standard. There's nothing abnormal there. And one thing I will say, I kind of hold this view that I don't think all multicolored leaders should be 4-life. And I don't think the only way around that should be something like what they did with Rebecca and Vivi, the leader. It's like why is it that if it has 5 life and it's multicolored, it has to not be allowed to attack, right? It has to have some insane stipulation put on it. Because, like, think about Zephyr, right? Purple, black, Z. The Z deck, or the Z leader, the purple, black leader. You might think, well, man, he has access to all the purple and black cards. It's like, well, no, he doesn't, really, right? Because he can't run 10-drop Kaido, right? You can't run 10-cost Kaido. Because 10-cost Kaido says, I mean, you can run it, but you won't get the effect. Because the effect is if your leader is, Kaido's normal type. I don't remember all the types. I think it's like Animal Kingdom Pirates. Yeah, if he's not that, then sorry, you don't even get to use his effect. It's like, well, then that takes away one of the massive quote-unquote benefits of running a dual-color character. I think there should be some type of, how do you say this? Yes, I do think there should be some, penalty, I guess, quote-unquote, for going dual-color leaders. But I feel like they already baked that into the game with cards even like Spandam, right? Like Spandam says if your leader is not CP, you can't even use his effect, which is a CP searcher. So anyway, but when it comes to the yellow decks that splash yellow, yes, I think those should be at 4 life, if not less. Like maybe they make an effect that's very strong with gaining life, like black yellow Charlotte Linlin. Where you actually want to go down low in life so you can start getting her interaction, as fast as possible. So anyway, enough rambling on that. Let's get further into this purple-yellow list here. This is a 5,000 power leader, 4 life, purple-yellow. Very interesting combination. I didn't see it as being a strong combination, but it actually is pretty strong, and we'll talk about it as we go through the list here. Excuse me. So one thing we need to talk about first, before we go into the list, is what the leader does. Crocodile's the leader. 7 Warlords of the Sea and Baroque works, so we have that kind of synergy going on. Opponent's turn once per turn. When you return Dawn from your field to the Dawn deck through one of your effects, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as active, and set it as active, I think it should say. But okay, excuse me. So this is basically a way for us to not lose all of this Dawn while defending with very powerful abilities like Blast Breath. You have to pay 1 and return a Dawn to your Dawn deck to hit with a Blast Breath for plus 4,000 power for the turn. Well, in this deck, it literally was free. The first time, at least, right? So you'll return a Dawn card, but you'll pay 1 and return the Dawn card to your Dawn deck to Blast Breath for plus 4,000 power for that battle, and then your leader's ability will come in and say, well, okay, you can just have it right back. So that's something we have to take into consideration, and you'll start to understand all these triggers. We'll talk about these triggers as we come across them. Okay, so first I'm going to read off the list, and then we'll go on each character. So 4 Black Maria, 4 Shiki, 4 Crocodile, the character, the 8-cost character, purple 8-cost character, 4 of the new 5-cost Miss All Sundays, OP04, of course, and I think quite a few of these cards are OP04, by the way. That's an ST1, that's OP01, this is an OP04, so keep that in mind. 4 Miss Valentine Makita, 4 Mr. 4 Babe, 4 Mr. 13 and Miss Friday, 3 Sanji, 4 Charlotte Katakuri, the 8-cost, 4 Capone Gang Beige, 4 Yamato, 3 Blast Breath, and 4 Narakabura Arrow, or however you say that, the arrow. Okay, so a lot of trigger stuff that has Dawn minusing abilities. Like Miss All Sunday, this card is incredible. I cannot wait to play with this card once we get our hands on OP04 over here in the West. Because this is a 5-cost 5K. That seems a little underrated, right? Because it doesn't even have a counter on it. But it more than makes up for it, in my opinion, in the on-play and the trigger. So on play, add up to 1 rested Dawn to your cost area. And if you have 6 or more Dawn, draw 1 card. Trigger Dawn -2 to play this card. Okay, so remember, this trigger here is going to proc your Crocodile's ability, right? It's going to activate it. It's searching for this. Oh, you're going to return Dawn from your field? Okay, well then set one back as active, right? So when we play a card like Miss All Sunday, we're getting both of the Dawn back, right? We're essentially getting it for free. Now, I don't know exactly how the timing works. I haven't looked into it yet. But if I'm not mistaken, say you get this with 6 Dawn. Say you get this character with 6 Dawn. Okay? Well, like from the trigger, excuse me. So let's say you have 6 Dawn, your opponent attacks you, and now you hit this on the trigger. It comes into play. Okay? In order to trigger it, you have to -2. Right? So 1 Dawn is going to come back right away from your Crocodile's ability, and then Miss All Sunday is going to on play add up to 1 rested Dawn to your cost area, and then you're back up to 6, and now you can draw a card from her. Right? So there's extremely powerful interactions like that with this deck. I really like that interaction going on there, and I think that's strong even in Standard. Like, I don't think this is exclusive to 3 versus 3, is what I'm saying. So, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below, or, or whatever. So, then we also have Black Maria. She's just a 4-cost 5k blocker, 1k counter. On block, Dawn -1, this character gains +1,000 during this turn. And it's just on block, Dawn -1, so you can't just, like, keep Dawn -1. It's just, you choose, okay, I've blocked, so now I'm going to do the on-block effect. And I don't think you can do it more than once per turn, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. But either way, that's a 4-cost 6k blocker. Okay, now, the amount of versatility that has, the amount of utility that has, it also, is free in this deck with your Crocodile's leader ability. But the ability to just float between 5,000 and 6,000 power as a blocker is very, very strong, guys. Because think about it like this. If they swing at your leader for 8, right? Well, or excuse me, for 7 is what I meant to say. If they swing at your leader for 7, well, that's very annoying, right? Because now you have to do a 2k counter and a 1k counter, right? Or, unfortunately, maybe even a double 2k counter. Well, with a character like Black Maria down, and like Borsellino for the people who run black and whatnot, you actually get to counter out for just 2k by using your blocker, right? Like that's like the beauty of having the 6k power blockers. Like they really do have a special spot by being at 6k, and anything above that is obviously even better. So really strong card here. The Dawn -1 interacts directly with our leader's ability, our OP04 leader's ability. Next we got Shiki. 6 cost 7,000 power, 1k counter. He just strangely runs this as like, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. That is so strange to me. I don't see how this one fits into the deck design, but at the same time, it's a 6 cost with 1k power, 7,000 power. 1,000 counter, 7,000 power, and he cannot be KO'd in battle. So you just turn him sideways. And I guess the logic is, okay, you want to use a removal on him? Like you want to use your Sakazuki and another interaction on him or something? Like drop him down to 5 and use a Sakazuki or something? Be my guest. I'm guessing that's the idea there. But interesting. All right, moving on to Crocodile, the character, 8-cost character. This is from OP04 as well. On play, Dawn -2. If your leader type includes Baroque Works, which of course this one does, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck on top of your life. This is a purple gain life card. And you're getting a 9k body, right? That's not exactly bad. And then on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you can return 1 Dawn to draw 1 card and trash 1 card. So to cycle. And remember, with your leader Crocodile's ability, that's basically free. Okay. Now, I do want to mention you can only use Crocodile's ability once. Okay, I'm just making sure that's abundantly clear. You can't just keep doing it over and over again on your opponent's turn, but every single turn that pops up, opponent's turn once per turn, you're getting the effect. Now, interestingly, for 3 versus 3, this would probably apply to every single opponent's turn. Correct? Someone correct me if I'm wrong with that, and then the effect becomes very strong with a card like Crocodile, where every single one of your opponent's turns, you're going to be able to once per turn Dawn -1 to draw a card, trash a card, cycle, and use Crocodile's ability, the leader. Very cool. Very strong synergy there. All right, now we have Miss Valentine. This is a 2-cost, 2K, 1,000 counter. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal one card with Baroque Works in one of its types. So any card with Baroque Works, right? It could be an event or a character. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, and trigger Dawn -1 to play this card. So again, this is a free card, a free searcher card that you can play off the top of your deck with the Crocodile's ability. And let me see what all his Baroque Works. Animal Kingdom Pirates, Golden Lion. So this is Baroque Works, BW, I think, stands for Baroque Works in the Japanese version. BW, yeah, I think this is Baroque Works. Okay, it obviously won't hit any of these yellows, and unfortunately it does not hit Blast Breath either. But still, very strong interaction. Worst case scenario, you get a free 2K. Okay. Mr. 4 Babe. This is a Dawn -1. When the opponent attacks, so there you go, multiple opponents, right? You can Dawn -1. This character gains blocker and plus 1,000 power during this battle. So this is a 5-cost 7K blocker, realistically, in this deck. Now it is, you can only block one time, right? Unless you have a way of restanding your character, but you get the point. Because for those who don't know, as a cost to block, you actually tap the blocked character, or you rest the blocker in order to block. Okay, very strong though, regardless. 3 costs, 1K power. This is a 2K counter. And it does have trigger, play this card, but activate main, you may trash this character and one of your characters with a type including Baroque Works to add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. I think this is exclusively a Baroque Works 2K counter. I think that's what this is. Okay, then we have another 2K counter in Sanji. 2 costs, 3,000 power, Dawn ×2 when attacking. You may add 1 card from the top of from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. Add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So just a great way to cycle through life cards. I think this is one of the better 2K counters in the game. There are a lot of them now, I will say, but like this is a very good one. It kind of reminds me of Garp, where it's like, man, I can really, I could really get some value out of this, as more than just a 2K counter if needed. But 2K counters are 2K counters, guys. I can hear everybody, cringing from that comment. It's like, yeah, they can work, but you need it as a 2K counter. Very nice, though. Okay, Charlotte Katakuri. This is the 8 cost, 8,000 power, Charlotte Katakuri. On play, put up to 1 character with a cost of 8 or less on the top or bottom of its owner's life area face up. So, I mean, this is, this is completely, nothing much to talk about here. Everyone knows what this card does. Being able to bounce an 8 or less is just massive. And the amount of utility it has, the amount of utility that this has in a multiplayer game, like this is going to allow you to bounce things up to the top of your deck and get additional triggers and all kinds of stuff. I don't know. This card is so strong, guys. It's so strong. It's the utility that it offers, where it's like, okay, they just played a character we don't want to deal with, so let's establish an 8K body and just get him out of play. Let's just get him out of here. Very powerful. Okay, Capone Gang Beige. We talked about him a little bit. Another 2K counter, but really that trigger is monstrously strong. The 2K trigger here, guys, is just so good. This trigger is just going to be, it's going to cause such an ordeal. It's going to cause such a problem for your opponent, or for your opponents in this case, right? Excellent. Okay. What else? Yamato, we kind of talked about this character as well. This is coming out in OP04. Another card I just can't wait to get my hands on, as someone who's been messing around with like black, yellow, Big Mom Pirates deck, Charlotte Linlin. It's like, I don't know if this card's going to be able to make the cut because the deck list is already so tight, but a 9 cost 9K that KOs when it comes into play, and if you have 1 or less life, add 1 card from the top of your deck to your life area. Yeah, that's kind of what it does already. That's kind of what the black, yellow deck is doing already, right? So, just awesome. Really strong card. All right, and the last 2 spots are reserved for events. We got Blast Breath. For this battle, your leader or one of your characters gains plus 4,000. We already talked about the Dawn interaction with the leader. This is basically free, just incredible. And then you have a Narukabura arrow, however you say that. Counter 1 cost counter if you have 2 or less. If you have 2, if your life has 2 cards or less, give minus 3,000 power to up to one of your opponent's leader or characters for the turn. Okay, and then trigger. You may trash 2 cards from your hand. You may place up to 1 card from the top of your deck at the top of your life. So a nice way to gain life, right, on the trigger. It's a very steep cost. There's no doubt about that. It's like a Kaku Sovereignty. I think it's the same thing as a Kaku Sovereignty for the trigger. But it could win you the game, right? It could potentially win you the game. So that is worth mentioning. That is worth noting, or taking note of, however you want to say it. Yeah. So the counter is good as well. If your life has 2 cards or less, give minus 3,000 power to up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters. So for one, you're getting a 3K counter, right? So very, very strong. And okay, guys, that's the list. Tell me what you guys think about it in the comment section below. I think this list was pretty interesting, guys. This was a pretty interesting list, I gotta say. And I was thinking about this last night. The entire yellow is becoming such an incredible splash color. Like, I'm starting to think like how blue yellow is going to be, purple yellow now, of course, black yellow I'm messing with right now. Green yellow with Arlong. Unfortunately, I don't really like that leader ability. The leader ability is trying to force something that just doesn't feel natural with the triggers. Not to say it can't be used, not to say it doesn't work. And then red yellow, I think, is getting a leader finally in OP05. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff going on, guys. I definitely want to hear what y'all think about this one. Can this deck work in standard? Or would y'all say this was like, nah, this was exclusively like an a 3v3 format list? Because, like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, these are the cards that seem strong to me that I wouldn't want to mess with. Like, okay, so for this leader, this character here, we're gaining life. Miss All Sunday is just a very solid card. Katakuri, we know what that does. The amount of utility is just unbelievable. Yamato, gaining life. Gang Beige, stopping attacks or 2K countering. Whew, guys, I don't see much of a problem here, I liked the Black Maria card, and I liked the Mr. 4 Babe for the blocker spots. I think those are just pretty good. With this leader. Of course, considering who this leader is, right? But yeah, I'm anxious. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. So, please don't be afraid to leave a comment in the comment section below. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And I'm going to go ahead and end it here, guys. And thanks for stopping by, as usual. And until next time, peace.